In this video we are going to talk about the top 10 dark government cover-ups leaked by Anonymous. So before starting this video, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. When a government insider, such as an employee, former employee, or contractor, discloses top secret material to a journalist, this is known as a leak. Most of the time, the insider is not permitted to disclose this information and prefers to remain unnamed. Sometimes it depends on the information that was released and, occasionally, why it was disclosed. Here are the top 10 dark government cover-ups leaked by Anonymous. Number 10. The NSA surveillance. The National Security Administration and FBI's PRISM operation, which allowed the agencies to collect data from numerous different servers and internet giants including Microsoft, Facebook, Google, and Apple, was first made public by the Washington Post. Then, according to Anonymous, 13 documents were leaked that covered the specifics of the PRISM program. These records demonstrate that the NSA is eavesdropping on you and not only Americans, according to a statement included with the leak. As we have stated, this is taking place in more than 35 nations and is being done in collaboration with commercial companies and international intelligence partners. We do this so you can see how few rights you actually have. Your freedoms and privacy are being gradually restricted in closed-door meetings, by laws that are tucked away in bills, and by those who are supposed to be looking out for you. Number 9. The Russian leak. When the Anonymous gang breached their systems and released over 700 terabytes of data, 3 Russian organizations, the Ministry of Culture of the Russian Federation, the Blagoveshchensk City Administration, and the Governor's Office of the Tver region lost hundreds of thousands of emails. The emails include private information, including censorship and copyright laws, as well as state policy on the arts, cinematography, archives, and copyright. The organization had also claimed in the past that they had been successful in shutting down Russia's space agency, denying the nation the ability to spy using satellites, and that they had also downloaded and deleted secret files pertaining to satellite imaging and vehicle monitoring. Additionally, they stole 35,000 various files from the Russian central bank. All of this is a result of a sustained campaign to persuade Russia to end their hostilities. Number 8. Police records. Operation Blue Leaks, which involves hacking and publishing a sizable number of police records, was finished by Anonymous in June of 2020. They obtained a total of 269 terabytes of information from more than 200 different law enforcement agencies. The documents contained information such as phone numbers, banking details, and even allegations of crimes. It appears that records were released to reveal information about the tactics and mentality of law enforcement. One of the participants said that it has been suggested that it is unlikely that serious police misbehavior will be discovered. However, we believe that those either slightly missed the mark or at the very least equated police wrongdoing with only criminal activity. Many of the recent protests are in part directed against what police do and have done legitimately. In terms of American law enforcement organizations, it is the biggest published tag. It offers the most up-close inside view of the state, local, and federal organizations charged with safeguarding the public. Number 7. Canadian institutions. Following an incident involving one of the group's members, Anonymous developed a slight grudge towards the Canadian government, which resulted in their targeting. They leaked a top-secret federal document that contained details about the renovation of Canada's major diplomatic missions in Britain. The National Post even attested to its veracity. The information about the price of the sale, moving, and rebuilding of Canada's Foreign Affairs Department in London was part of the Queen's Privy Council's March confidence. It raised many concerns among the government and populace about how secure information is and what other secrets might be at risk of being easily stolen and published. However, it was primarily focused on the profits that would eventually result. According to a representative for Anonymous, the information was leaked in an effort to sway the next federal elections. Number 6. Census Bureau. In 2015, Anonymous attacked the U.S. Census Bureau, compromising the data of nearly 4,000 employees in the process. They released the data from the databases, including usernames, emails, and phone numbers of government employees, but they did not disclose how they were able to obtain it. The U.S. Census Bureau is looking into an IT security incident involving unauthorized access to non-confidential information on an external system that is not a part of the internal network of the Census Bureau, according to a spokeswoman who verified the attack. While our IT forensics team conducts its investigation, access to the external system has been limited. The Trans-Pacific Partnership trade discussions, which are said to have the potential to privatize services in the UK like free healthcare, are what Anonymous claims their motivation for the attack was. Number 5. Leak from the Chilean army. When Chileans began to demonstrate against inequality in 2019, tensions between the protesters and the police and military soon descended into violence. This prompted Anonymous to target the Chilean military in a significant release of their data and information. A total of 3,500 emails were compromised, with the contents of 6 distinct email accounts being made public. The details mention things like interactions with international security companies, meetings between army officials and businessmen, and even collaboration agreements with the U.S. government. The chief financial officer and the Army's director of intelligence are two of the most well-known email addresses that have been revealed. Every email was uploaded to a repository of information, where it could be accessed by anybody. Following the incident, the Chilean army put a lot of effort into implementing additional security measures and attempting to identify individuals involved. Number 4. The Federal Reserve. In 2013, Super Bowl Sunday was disrupted by more than just a football game. An anonymous hacker gained access to the personal data of approximately 4,000 people, including their phone numbers, addresses, email addresses, and passwords, by breaking into the American Federal Reserve. Apparently, Anonymous was protesting the U.S. Department of Justice at the time. According to a representative of the Federal Reserve, the Federal Reserve System is aware that information was accessed via taking advantage of a momentary flaw in a website vendor's software. Shortly after it was discovered, the exposure was corrected, and it is no longer a problem. Critical Federal Reserve System activities were unaffected by this occurrence. The United States Sentencing Commission's website was hacked as well as other sites as part of the same protest. Number 3. Leak from Canadian security. Just before the first attack we described on this list, another one against the Canadian government occurred, and it was all a result of anonymous animosity toward Canada. The Canadian Security Intelligence Service, also known as SISE, was discussed in these documents that were leaked. It disclosed classified data such as the extent of its network of overseas stations, the volume of top-secret communications handled by them, and their antiquated information exchange mechanism. The government has only acknowledged 3 foreign stations before the release: Washington, London, and Paris. There were actually more than 25, though, according to a classified dossier that was released, many of them being placed in unstable or developing nations. They had apparently not updated their security measures since the 1980s. A representative for Anonymous claimed that since Stephen Harper was in power at the time, and we now know several of his most prized secrets. Number 2. Operation Hong Kong. Anonymous activity in Hong Kong was a reaction to the abuse of demonstrators, much like what was happening in Chile. They declared in 2014 that they will undertake a massive cyber attack against Chinese government computers, taking down their websites in the process. And the anonymous statement added, "Just a heads up. Try to stop it and get ready for us. You will only be successful if you take all of your websites down. You cannot stop us, China." Before misusing your power against Hong Kong's inhabitants, you ought to have anticipated us. Anonymous made assertions that they had already gained access to many of the nation's government websites and that they had private emails that they were threatening to leak throughout October of that year. But it doesn't appear that any of these emails were ever made public. Number 1. Leaks from the Syrian president. In 2012, infiltrating the Syrian Ministry of Presidential Affairs, Anonymous was able to access the email accounts of 78 employees who report to the current president. Given that a man didn't have a very secure password, it was evident that it was a fairly simple task. The passwords for 33 of the 78 email accounts are all 12,345 or 123456. Certainly not Fort Knox. A chat between the United Nations and the president's media advisor the year before this, which helped him prepare for an impending interview with Barbara Walters, was one of the hundreds of varied emails that were made public. The hacking organization also paid attention to Syria when they compromised the website of the Syrian Defense Ministry and changed it to convey support for the Syrian people who are attempting to rebuff their president's rule. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.